Hello and welcome to Schmoedown All Access. I'm your host, Caleb Lil Boatman. We got a really fun episode for you today. Two really good matches coming to the end of the Anarchy tournament. Let's go over to our panelists. First up, we got my co-host running the ones and twos. It is the villain, Haven Pendergast. How are you feeling today?
Hey, what's up, everyone? Hey, man, I'm feeling good, man. We had we had two great tag team matches in the semifinals, and then now we know who's gonna battle each other for the #1 contenderships to play the Shire Wolves at the Spectacular. So I'm excited, brother, to talk about this week.
Yeah, definitely. Going over to a member of the Revengers. He is the arsonist, Jay Burns. How are you feeling today, Jay?
Hey, man, I can't complain. I'm ready to talk some Schmoedown, boys. Let's do this.
Okay. Now, going over to somebody who has not been on in a while, but we're glad to have him back. Another member of the NWO, the current Wrestling League champion. Congratulations on that, James. James Shimo. How are you doing today?
I'm back, motherfuckers. That's right, I'm here. I'm ready to talk some Schmoedown, baby. It's been a long time coming, but man, is it good to be back. What's the old saying? Reunited, and it feels
so good.
The No Winners Organization. The NWO. The No Winners Organization. The NWO.
Try saying that when you've got a title belt over your shoulder, asshole.
I'm just kidding. The NWO are a faction. That's what you can say about them. Okay.
As the big dog would say, I'm not a Bullet Club today. I got Power Rangers on today.
Oh, nice. I thought it was okay.
Sorry.
Okay.
Cool
Before this becomes a faction war over here, let's move on to the Schmoedown. First up, we've got a really good match. The Odd Couple versus the Harris Bros. Starting off round one. Odd Couple obviously being Jeff Snyder and Mark Andreyko, and the Harris Bros being Lon and John Harris. Moron Harris, I'm told, was not available. Sean Maroney! Anyway, so round one starts off, both teams come out. Jeff Snyder just keeps getting more and more ridiculous with his costumes and his entrances. And then, they go up, and both teams play fairly well. Odd Couple getting 11 points, but the Harris Bros are in the lead with 14 points. What were your thoughts on round one, James?
Yeah, I thought round one was pretty cool. You mentioned Snyder's getting more and more creative with his costumes and everything. Hey, whatever it takes to get him out of that crappy freaking New England Patriots gear. Fuck that shit. Anyhow, but when it comes right down to it, I was actually really surprised. With how well the Harris brothers did, especially against two guys who we know are absolute beasts when it comes to at least singles competition. You've got Jeff Snyder, who's obviously been a former team champion, as well as Mark Andreyko, who's had matches, #1 contenders matches and championship matches in the last couple of weeks. So, these are two guys who, would arguably are at the top of their game. Snyder maybe not so much after, the loss of the team titles, but he's still doing his thing. But the Harris brothers, I mean, say what you want. JT went down. Lon's brother John stepped in, and those guys have been pretty dominant in this whole tournament. So I won't say round one was all that surprising, but at the same time, it was just like, it was interesting because I could have, if you'd asked me going into this, who did I think was going to be ahead from round one to round two, I would have definitely gone with the Odd Couple. So, but yeah, I mean, just there's trade-off everywhere here. Honestly, really fun match all around, but yeah, great start to round number one. Little controversy here and there with, Snyder talking shit as he is wont to do, but, what are you going to do?
Yeah, definitely. Going over to Jay, what were your thoughts on this round one and your thoughts going into the match?
my thoughts going into the match were, okay, now it's time for Andreyko and Schneider to kind of tighten it up. Just, you got by with your last match. Now it's time to actually show that you deserve to be moving forward. At the end of round one, I was surprised because they're both really good competitors. They are both, well, one's a former champion and then the other's just a fucking smartass. Oh, wait, I'm still talking about the same person. But that being said, I was a little disappointed to see that the Odd Couple was down. I don't know what was with the pink wig. Like, that threw me off a little bit. I was like, maybe if he had put a little bit more time into studying, they would have been up going into round two.
Yeah. Going over to Haven, what were your thoughts on going into the match and the first round?
Going into the match, I was really digging the Odd Couples. Well, before the match even started, we had that promo, or we had that
promo. Yeah.
Not even a promo. It was a cutscene. It was Mark Riley is busy at work, making his money, provide for his family. He's blogging, or he's writing up a nice article, for Collider Live, probably, and then we had a surprising a sighting from the best, the greatest manager of all time. We all know him as Finstock. He shows up, he's talking his futuristic verbiage. He shows him a video, which was interesting. He had one great line in that thing, which I can't even recall right now. When he had
your favorite shady person's favorite shady person.
Yes, that was Thanks, arsonist. Yeah, that was fine. And then we found out that it wasn't Ben Bateman that took the dog. It was actually we see here. It looked like it's Kalinowski is taking Kyle. So that was interesting. This was I actually mentioned this last week, I believe. Yeah, last week I was able to be here. 2 weeks ago I couldn't because my thing was acting zany. But yeah, I was wondering. I was like, man, they haven't really done any cutscenes. They haven't done anything like that before. We haven't seen Thad in a while, and we got all the stuff that I asked for last week this week. So that was interesting going into the match. It showed Mark Riley coming on board, maybe full time with those guys, like all in now. So that was pretty cool. Yeah, going. Then obviously the Harris brothers. They talk some weird stuff in their promo. They're funny guys. They're entertaining. On their mic. They feed off each other well. And then the Odd Couple, they come to the ring. Jeff Snyder's wearing some fucking weird purple Muppet wig. Ken Napzok had the funniest line when he called him a Muppet. That was pretty fucked up that he did that. But it was interesting because not the match alone, just the announcers. We had what's his? Yeah, I can't pronounce that last name for shit. I'm sorry, dude. Everybody knows I'm bad with names anyway. Yeah, Johnny was on the table and Ken was on the table, so it was a little different. I didn't expect those two to be on the table. It was good to see Johnny on the Schmoedown, doing some stuff. So that was interesting. Yeah, the dynamic was, maybe a little more time and we get better on the table. But the first round was what I expected. Both teams played well in the first round. I mean, well, individually because you can't really talk to each other. So, you got to kind of just whatever to help your team out. So, yeah, the first round was pretty good, what I expected. I was rooting for a certain team, to take that side of the bracket. And unfortunately, it just wasn't their day, But, yeah, the first round wasn't too bad.
Yeah, so I'll kind of give my thoughts. Going in, I wanted the Harris Bros to win, but I went with my mind and not my heart, and I went with the Odd Couple winning because I thought that, John Harris wasn't quite as good as, his brother, but, man, he brought it in this first round, and so did Lon. I mean, all four players brought it, but specifically the Harris Bros. definitely played very well. And I want to see John jump into singles at some point because I think he'd be very good in that league.
I'm hoping he does. I drafted him in my fantasy league, so maybe he'll jump in the singles tournament.
Yeah.
I need another player in the fantasy league.
Yeah.
I need another player in that tournament. Sorry to cut you off, brother.
Oh, it's no worries. No worries. But yeah, so I was definitely impressed how John Harris played this match. I think he just kind of got some unlucky questions that were a little out of his zone in this match, in the last match. But in this match, he played very well, but so did, all four teams. So yeah, moving over now to round 2. We had the Harris brothers going up first. They spun Tarantino films, and they did pretty well with that, getting 22 points, bringing the score 11-22. Then the Odd Couple goes up, and they get some bad luck. They spin Opponent's Choice, I believe. Yeah, they spun Opponent's Choice, right? Yeah. And they get Sports Movies. And they did not do very well with that too much. Harris Brothers got some steals there, and score was 16-24 by the end of the first round. Or of the second round, excuse me. So going over to Jay first, what were your thoughts on the third round? Or second round, excuse me.
Well, personally, just because it's more my wheelhouse, I think they should have stuck with the category that they landed on first, which was fantasy sci-fi.
Who are you referring to?
Oh, I'm sorry. The Odd Couple.
Oh, yeah.
The Odd Couple spun fantasy sci-fi and then spun away from it and got Opponent's Choice. But you'd think somebody who relates Tom Brady as much as fucking Jeff Schneider does would be able to answer some sports questions, especially without having to go to multiple choice. Tarantino, I haven't seen a whole lot of people pick Tarantino, and I'll say it every week like I have for the last little bit. The least amount of times that a fucking wheel peg or a wheel slice has been picked, the easier the questions are really going to be ultimately, because it's still technically fresh territory. You might get a Tarantino question here and there, but nobody actually picks it, and nobody gets to hear 5 questions right off the bat. Like, unfortunately, it happens like that. I was surprised that the score was as different as it was, because, well, John got a perfect round. I'm sorry, Lon got a perfect round in round 1, and he hit his point, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, so I mean, props to him for that. You can't hate him for that one. So it gives him a little bit of an advantage, and it just sucks to see that they weren't able to capitalize on what you would think would be somebody's strength outside of Sly and Arnie, because your ex-partner isn't there anymore. And it was just a little saddened to see that the score was the gap was as wide as it was going into round number 3.
Yeah. All right, Haven, going over to you. What were your thoughts?
I wanted the Odd Couple to win. I was rooting for them. Man, fucking the Harris brothers took round 2. They rocked round 2. And then when it came to the Odd Couple, they got sports. And I just don't understand what happened there. Like, they missed so many questions. Their fucking second question about Major League. Like, I was thinking about it, and I was like, oh, once I went to the multiple choice, I was like, the answer was so obvious. There's only two things you could do at bat. It's either hit a home run, and then I visually remember it, him doing this. That's the bunt. When the ball's coming, you do this, boom, and then it just kind of falls and then you run. And they couldn't get none of these sports questions right. So they were in a huge disadvantage going into round 3. And I knew that once round 2, it just seems like it seemed I was so shocked that they couldn't navigate round 2 better than that and get a couple points in round 2. Like, that was just painful to watch, and you could just tell the writing was on the wall after that. it sucked, you know, because those questions weren't that hard, especially if they went to multiple choice, which they did a couple times, and they just fucking missed. And I was surprised I think the Harris brothers got that one wrong too. They didn't get the bunt, you know. And I was like that's you know, if you, and I don't even watch baseball like that, you know, but I remember that scene vividly, that he would always do that, you know, do the thing like that and just bunt the ball and run. So that's why it was like shocking, man. And they were just in such a hole that I was like, man, this is gonna be the end of those guys, and it sucked, you know. I know Schneider tried to get focused in round 3. He took the wig off, but I think it was a little too late, man. But yeah, round 2 was kind of, the writing was on the wall for me.
Yeah, James, over to you.
Yeah, it sucked to see, because I mean, you've seen, like I said, you've seen Snyder really, you know, excel in other categories in a lot of other rounds, and just like, yeah, all of these guys, like especially the sports category, they just did not do near as well as they could have. And like Aiden was saying, you know, for a guy who's the biggest Patriots fan as Snyder is, you figure he'd know a little bit more about sports movies. So, yeah, I mean, there's not really much to say about this. You know, one team did very well with their round, and one team didn't. I mean, that wheel round is the killer. You know, that's usually the one that determines how well the match goes or how close the match goes, is what these competitors end up spinning on that wheel. We've seen it in countless round 2s in all the fan leagues that we've either watched or been a part of. So, yeah, like I said, it just comes down to a bad twist of fate in a lot of cases, and that's kind of what happened here.
Yeah, definitely. First, my thoughts on round 2. I am notoriously not good at sports and not very good at sports movies. I knew a lot of those questions, and that is not a good thing if I'm better at sports movies than you are. Like, I have not actually seen Major League, but I just kind of logicked it out. Like, okay, it's a comedy. What would be the funniest if he did at a called shot? Like, he tried to do the Babe Ruth call shot thing, and it was like, the funniest thing it would be if he like did a bunt and like the Babe Ruth called shot. And I was like, okay, I'm guessing it's that one, and then I turned out to be right. So you just kind of make an educated guess in that sense. And then surprised I didn't know Ed Harris in Radiohead. I mean, sorry, not Radiohead.
Yeah, it was the coach. Yeah, it's only fucking coach in that movie. You know, it's not too many fucking football films out there.
The cover. Like, I haven't even seen that movie. He's just on the poster. Like, yeah, I was just very surprised. Especially, yeah, Jeff Snyder being a sports guy, but I didn't know as many sports movies, because I don't even watch sports movies that much. I don't like a lot of them. But yeah, Harris Brothers doing very well with Tarantino, even though I did feel like those questions were a little easier. I still think that, man, part of me feels like Jeff Snyder kind of did the thing that Jeff Snyder does when he feel like he can't win, which is kind of not try as hard to kind of save face. And maybe I'm just speculating there, but we kind of saw him do it with the Bibiani match, and maybe he it got into his head again. That's just my speculation here, but I know Jeff Snyder has done that before, where he just kind of, I'm not going to get this.
Well,
I will not try.
To try to think, I was going to say, maybe their thinking was, we had a match a couple of weeks back where I think it was a team match, and I think it was Breanne Chandler and McQueenie. I think they landed on sci-fi fantasy, and the category was so broad that maybe that's why they went away from it this match. And if you get a pocket thing that's kind of smaller, like Tarantino, you'll have better luck, because sometimes those questions are a little easier. You know, so, you know, the Harris brothers lucked out having something that was kind of more pocketed, that doesn't get called all the time. You know, that's just my 2 cents.
Yeah, but I don't know. Maybe that's just my perception of Jeff Snyder's attitude, and maybe that's just me bringing the fact that match between him and Bibiani just left me such like a negative feeling about Jeff Snyder after the way he played in that match. But you know, that's I'm probably just bringing that baggage into this match. But regardless, moving on now to round 3. You know, the odd couple, they go first. Obviously, since they've got such a big point deficit, 16-24. What is the name of the special kick that Daniel learns in The Karate Kid? They get that right. Crane kick, pretty easy, but it's a 2-pointer. Who plays Leonardo DiCaprio's wife, Mal, in Inception? They get that right. Marion Cotillard. And then still stays with them for their 5-pointer. And they go over and they ask what Academy Award-winning actress played Major Rebecca Childs in the science fiction adventure The Core. They get their 5-pointer, Hilary Swank. Then it goes over to the Harris brothers, who plays Colonel Nicholson in the film Bridge on the River Kwai. Get that right for their 2-point for Alec Guinness. And then it's up to the other Harris brother to get this 3-pointer ticket. In what Eastern European country did the 2002 film The Pianist take place? And he gets Poland for the win, and the Harris brothers win 29-26. And then we'll talk about that just a second, but I also do want to quick point out the post-credit scene, if you will, with Mike Kalinowski coming into Thad's office. So great to see those two again. Mike Kalinowski coming in and basically demanding that Thad give Ken Knapsack a title match at the Spectacular in Star Wars League against Alex Damon. So now we are going over to Haven. What were your thoughts on round 3, the match in general, and more of Mike's corruption?
Yeah, round 3 was you know, our couple battled back. They got all 3 of them right. And Draco took the 2-pointer. He got the crane. Jeff Snyder impresses me sometimes. You know, some people give him slack. You know, he comes out there, especially these last 2 matches, or this is the 3rd match that they had, I believe. That you know, he's wearing a crazy outfit and stuff. But that question, as soon as that question was asked, he knew the answer. Boom, he just knocked it out. And I would have never guessed that one. I had no idea.
One?
The 3-point question. The 3-point question. The 3-point question that Jeff Snyder answered. What was the actress' name?
Marion Cotillard.
Yeah, that question. I would have fucking never got that. You know, they got that right. You know, Jeff Snyder answered that, you know, fast as hell. He knew that. Like I said, that 3-pointer could have been a 5-pointer for me, and I still would have got it wrong. You know, that was, you know, just the luck of your knowledge base. And then when the 5-pointer came up, that was another hard one for me, but they knocked that one out. And then, you know, they just were still, they were able to come back in the game, but you knew the Harris brothers, with their knowledge, with their chemistry, you knew they weren't going to miss 3 questions in a row unless there was something like ridiculously obscure or something. They get their 2-pointer. Lon gets his 2-pointer right. Boom. And then his brother just knocked out Poland, was it? I would have got that one wrong. You know, I would have probably guessed Sweden or some shit, but they knocked out Poland, and I would have never got that one right because I haven't seen that film. I think I own that fucking movie. It's literally in the other room, and I've never watched it.
Great.
The read, right?
Brody did such a good job in that movie, dude.
Yeah, it's based on a book, you know, and it was a bestseller, you know, and the books always are better than the films. But I was just never decided to read the book, never watched the film, even though I got it. Unless they're showing, I think they show some nudity. I'm gonna have to check that out because that always brings me to the table. But I don't know. But yeah, the match went the way it was supposed to go. You know, they were trailing. They were just trailing by so much that there was no way they were going to win this thing. Unless, like I said, unless the Harris brothers just shit the bed completely, missed all 3 of them. Even then, I think but I don't think that was going to happen, especially in the semifinals where these 2 teams are, you know, played before twice, you know. So it just sucks, man, because I was really digging that team chemistry. You know, so yeah, the Harris brothers, you know, they play their hearts out. They're a tough ass team out of nowhere. They're becoming fan favorites, and yeah, man, the end credit scene was another thing about Mike Kalinowski, KO himself, I give him a lot of flack up here, and it's just this is just pure fun, nothing personal. But yeah, when he walked into Zadius' office with that smug look, I couldn't stand it. I almost threw up. Of course he's gonna weasel his way. He got his manager a shot at the Star Wars title. No tournament or no 5-way to determine the number one contender. Just boom, there it is. And that's what we have at the Spectacular right now.
Yeah. Yeah, I do want to say, Haven, you're probably the only person to watch a movie about the Holocaust just because there's a chance you might see a nice pair of boobs.
Hey, wait, the Reader isn't about a Holocaust?
Yeah, The Pianist is about the Holocaust.
Oh, I was thinking of The Reader. Oh, shit, yeah, The Pianist.
No.
Oh, yeah, I never.
Well,
yeah,
The Reader also is about the Holocaust.
No, it's about a teacher.
It's like in Germany.
I just never cared for The Pianist. I know Andrew Brody or whatever how you pronounce his name.
Adrian Brody.
Yeah, I heard he. That's how he made his name for himself. But it just doesn't seem like a film for me. So I just never watched it.
Yeah, I just thought that was fun. It's like, I'm not gonna watch that movie. The Holocaust movie. Oh wait, there's a nice pair of boobs in there. Okay, I'll watch this sad movie about the Holocaust for 3 hours.
I didn't know the Holocaust. I'm sorry, guys.
It's all right. No, I thought it was funny. I thought it was hilarious.
Any viewers out there, I don't condone any of that action. Apologize.
Yeah. No. Yeah. But yeah, no. Pianist is super sad but super good. I actually recommend it. But yeah. So going over to James, what were your thoughts on round 3 of the match in general and KO's kind of corruption and behind the scenes?
Yeah, round 3, I mean, it was what it was. You had a giant deficit there. The odd couple managed to hit their questions, managed to force it back to the Harris brothers, and unfortunately the spread was just a little too far reaching, and they managed to. The Harris brothers are now moving on to the finals against who we'll discuss a little bit later. But yeah, I mean, overall great performance by both teams. But yeah, I mean, Kalinowski pulling his strings again, getting Ken a title match without having to actually earn it. And again, that'll play also into something else we're going to talk about in a little bit later. But that's, I mean, yeah, you got to wonder in the next couple of weeks, obviously leading up to the Spectacular, we've got to find out whatever it is that Kalinowski has over Thad. And like I said, we'll talk about that a little bit more in a little bit. But yeah, but good stuff all around. Thought it was great. Looking forward to seeing the Harris brothers in the finals.
Yeah, definitely. Jay, over to you.
I don't think anybody can own the Holocaust haven. I'm just throwing that out there, my God. Like, there might be some people that not here at Jack Ball Trivia. I don't see. I see a final ending for this Kalinowski storyline, this corruption story, and Christian has been talking about it for the longest time. He has this grand idea on how he wants it to end, but going back to the actual round 3 before I get into any more of those, conspiracy thoughts like that. The Odd Couple played their hearts out, man. Fighting back, punching up is one of those difficult situations that you find yourself in. But being able to come back and answer all 3 of your round 3 questions, you got to give yourself a pat on the back for that alone. Win, lose, or draw, you fucking fought it out to the last question, literally. Good on the Harris brothers. I didn't think the Harris brothers could actually pull it off. I thought.
Odd Couple?
No, I didn't think the Harris brothers would pull it off. John is he's that unknown factor. But it seems like either it's beginner's luck or he truly knows how to play the game better than any of us as you're actually giving him credit for. Is what I was going for.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
Yeah.
So yeah. What? Oh, I thought you said something. Oh, yeah. So going over to round 3. I'm sorry, not going. My thoughts on round 3. Excuse me.
There it is.
My thoughts. Sometimes I get a little tied tongue
Sometimes.
As I strike that, reverse it.
Yeah, vice versa. Anyway, my thoughts on the match, and I thought that personally, I felt like the Odd Couples questions were pretty easy. I knew Marion put the odd, but that it is what it is. Points.
Nerd.
What?
Nothing.
Oh, there are some questions that for some people is super difficult, and then another person could get that question and think, oh, that's easy, and then vice versa. It's really just depends on where your strengths are. That's why round 3 is so tough to deal with, because it just kind of depends on your strength and kind of you're having to judge the difficulty of a question, but that's so subjective. Good on the Harris brothers for winning. I'm glad they win because I really like this team. I think the Harris brothers are just two really fun. I love their kind of personas. I think they're both really good players, and it was fun to see them play. And I think John did kind of surprise me in this one because I didn't think he did that well in the last match that he played, but in this one he did really well, and I think that team's going to be some fierce competition for the who's the boss.
Next team we talk about, yeah.
Yeah, I should say the next team we talk about, but you've seen them. Everyone watching they know who it is. So yeah, moving over to who's the boss versus corruption. You have Mike Kalinowski and Chance Elson versus Mark Riley and Ben Bateman. And before all that even starts, we had a little cutscene again with Thad Williams and Breanne Chandler. Breanne coming in and just being like, you know what, Thad, here's the deal. Unless you do, you stop with all this Mike stuff, stop bending to his will, acting, like a little baby. We're going to walk, and we got a ton of great people, and we're all going to go on strike unless you either resign or just stop listening to Mike. And that cutscene comes back later. Then we go in, to the promos and the entrances. Everything's pretty standard entrance-wise. Ken Knapsack coming in, just being so great on the mic, as usual. So, yeah, at the end of round 1, you have both teams tied 12-12. Pretty impressive. Both teams playing very well. So moving over to James, what were your thoughts on round 1 and leading into the match and everything around that?
Everything leading into the match. I was glad to see that little bit with Breanne at the beginning, because we needed to establish something that was going to eventually force Thad to find his balls again, because that's exactly what has happened. Mike Kalinowski cut his nuts off and he hit him somewhere, and he's got to go on a hunt for him, like Frodo trying to get rid of the ring or whatever. It's an epic quest that he needs to undertake, and having pretty much all of your players say they're going to walk out unless you finally take charge is a pretty good way to do it. Overall, opening the match I thought was really good. Round 1, solid stuff overall, just back and forth. And yeah, both teams put in a hell of a fight, and you knew as soon as that first round was over that this one was not going to come down to any kind of, just, I guess what I want to say, TKO situation or just full-blown knockout. It was going to be a close-knit race the whole way.
Yeah, definitely. Going over to Jay. Okay. All right, Jay.
Come back to you.
Come back to you. Okay. Haven, what were your thoughts going into the match and round 1?
All right, I forgot to say in the last match, I want to give a shout out to Johnny for that beautiful ass blue shirt and the vest and the tie. That dude was looking classy as hell, man. That dude was pimping up there. This one, yep, like you said, this match had a big time fight feel to it. You know, we had two great teams coming together to play in the semifinals. And the cutscene in the beginning, I always liked what they did with Brienne. You know, even last season, you know, we got seeds of this. You know, in this season, you know, she's one of the forefronts when it comes to like, no, I'm stopping this corruption bullshit. You know, and she's pretty much, you know, she's rallying the troops, man. She's the Wonder Woman of the league. You know, yeah, she's pretty much the hero. You know, and she's tired of Mike's stuff, and she faced Thad. You know, she looked him in the eyes. You know, she told him how it's gonna be. Showed them the paper of everybody that's gonna leave the league if it keeps up. Hey, if they do leave the league, you guys can always play here. Jack of all trivia. Anybody, you know. But anyway, yeah. So that was
out of the way.
Yeah, so that was pretty cool. You know, they had a great video package in the beginning, like they always do. The production was awesome. You know, boom, 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 boom. You know, Ken Knapsack was great, just talking his crap. You know, Mike talking his crap. You know, Chant was talking some stuff on the mic. You know, Finstock was gold. You know, best manager in the game. You know, and Mark Riley, I think after seeing that video last on Tuesday, I think he's all in, man. And I think him and Bateman make a great team. They got great chemistry. They're both knowledgeable. You know, when you have the best manager in the game, you know, he led another team to 10 wins in a row. Hey, man, they got magic right there, man. They got magic. They got money. They need to make a shirt. They need to make some Who's the Ball shirts now, because those things will sell out $1 million easy. Book them, Christian. We need those shirts, man. We need Finstock up there, you know, and then we need the Who's the Boss with Ben and Mark's face up there, man. I'll buy that shirt tomorrow. But yeah, this first round was great. I know Jay's ready to come back in, so I'll just say the first round was great. All four of them got 6 out of 8 right in the first round. That's damn near impressive, and that is showing that Mike actually stepped it up this round one, but not so much later rounds. So I'll pass it up.
Jay, what were your thoughts on the first round and going into the match?
Sorry about that, y'all. I had to work. So legitimately, I want to know whose names are on the paper in the cutscene, because all he said was this was an impressive list of competitors. So we really don't know how many that are actually on the list. Thad cracks me up. He just reminds me of that one random dude that you see at Comic-Con who dresses like Magnum PI, but you can't tell whether he's actually dressed up or if that's his everyday workwear. Round one, I love Ted Knapsack. He is such a good dude. Like, it doesn't matter what he does. He fucking throws his heart into it 100%. And, you know, Kalinowski, I hate the guy sometimes. Not him personally. His fucking character is a really good heel. Like, he does heel better than he did good guy, because he just seemed like he was fucking holding himself back, trying to not be like a dick. But now that he can kind of cut free, I like him a little bit better. Riley finding out that it was Kalinowski putting Cal in the back of Bateman's car was just funny, and I think it lit a fire under his ass. There's something that happens later on in round two that I really want to talk about. Other than this, their first round, they really kind of scared me. I thought this was going to be like the one, you know, this was going to be the second match in just as many weeks that went into overtime. Just from the way round one started off.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, as far as my thoughts on going into the match, I had Corruption winning this one. Just I predicted they were going to win this because I was just so impressed with Chance the last time. Didn't quite, you know, go that way, but we'll talk about that later. But yeah, I mean, all four competitors did a great job in round one, playing very well, all of them. So, yeah, as far as the stuff with Brian and Thad, that is hilarious. I love Thad just playing just the, I don't want to deal with this, just kind of, him and Kalinowski, man, they always have the funniest cutscenes. Kalinowski, I think he's one of the best heels right now. I really do. I think he just kind of gets that. He's kind of like, that type of villain that's, he definitely, like, you don't like him, but at the same time, you're like, man, he has brought us some good stuff, like the Anarchy tournament, which is a lot of fun, and the Inner Geekdom tournament, and all this. So it's just kind of like, dang it, Kalinowski, we hate you, but we love you. And just as a heel, he's so entertaining, and I agree with you, Jay. He's way more entertaining as a heel than he was as a face. There's a reason he was called White Bread when he was a face. He's a really good heel, though. I think he's really entertaining as a heel. At least in my opinion. I know Haven disagrees, thinking he's the fake heel. But, it is what it is. So, yeah, moving over now to round 2. Who's the Boss goes first. And this is kind of the moment when Who's the Boss kind of convinced me. Because I'll admit, I've been doubting Who's the Boss this entire tournament. This match and this round in particular kind of turned it around for me. I don't know. Just something about how well they both did in scores and soundtracks. Bring it up to 23 points. Just did very well. Anyway, score. Who's the Boss goes up. They go 12-23, doing very well in scores and soundtracks. Then Corruption goes up. They spend 2,000s. They get 19 points and that, but they do let some steals go, bringing the score 19-26, bringing that to a 7-point decimate going into round 3. Jay, what were your thoughts on round 2? And tell us that interesting tidbit about round 2 that you wanted to talk about.
You remember Riley? Riley did very poorly the last time he spun scores and soundtrack. So to see him come back with a vengeance, just cross his arms and like, fuck you, want to answer every single one of these. And they only had to check a multiple choice, I do believe, once. And it was just to make sure that they were correct. They scored, 9 out of 10 possible points that round?
Yes.
That's a phenomenal round, too. And for it to be Riley, the guy who kind of let that exact same category fuck with him just a couple of weeks prior, really shows the dedication that, the former champ has to the game. And it was funny to see Matthew McConaughey kind of bite Chance in the ass one more time. That's
a funny visual image, Jay.
I wouldn't put it past Mr. All right to do something. But 2000s is one of those it's a very, very broad category. And I would that one I was even uncertain about, but I was like, oh, shut up a bit. But this round 2, sorry, we're shaking him. We're shaking him. This round 2 kind of blew me away. Riley not even really using Ed Bateman to help all that much when it comes to answering all these questions and just dominating was an amazing sight to see. And, we say it every week, sometimes it's about what you know. And if you don't know something, you really just don't know it. And Riley just kind of proved that scores and soundtrack is something that he knows.
Yeah. Okay, going over to James. Thoughts on round 2?
Yeah, round 2. Just to correct Jay a little bit. If I'm not mistaken, they got 11 out of 12 points.
11.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
I was going to say that too. I wrote it down.
I thought it was only 5.
Yeah, no. But yeah, I mean, like you said, Mark Riley, after whiffing on scores and soundtracks in the past, he went in there, he dropped his fly, he pulled it right out and said, "Hey, I got some big swinging nuts for you," and he swung for the fences on all of those questions and really brought it home. So, yeah, but like I said, we knew going into this round that there were going to be it was going to be a back and forth battle, and on the part of both teams, there was absolutely no doubt that we were going to see a lot of just back and forth, close, blow for blow, punch for punch, just, a really knockdown, drag out, slobber knocker of a match, and that's exactly what we got. So, yeah, round two, like I said in the last one, the wheel can either help you or it can hurt you, and in this case, it helped out Riley and Bateman, and it actually didn't do too bad for Kalinowski and Chance either. So, yeah, well done by both teams.
Yeah, definitely. Going over to you, Haven, thoughts on round two?
This is where everything I've been saying comes to fruition. Before we get to that, I want to say I want to acknowledge two things, well, maybe three. I don't really have an order. This week we had 4 different commentators on the matches. This match we had Christian, of course, and we had the android himself was there. They both was wearing T-shirts. They looked cool. They weren't as fly as Johnny was in the last match, but it's give or take. I've been saying this for a long time. Since Mark Riley shit the bed, he feels he did last time when he had scores and soundtracks. This time he wanted to redeem himself, and he did. Like, this guy was going balls to the wall. Him and Bateman, but Bateman didn't really might have not seemed like he helped too much, but you can never take for granted the moral support, the talking to him, saying, hey, this person made a start in this movie, and then he's like, okay, yeah, boom, boom, Mark Riley just on fire. And this is the round that I've been telling everybody out there. Oh, another point I wanted to make, not even about this round, it's just when you look at all 4 of these guys at the table, it could have been the Wolf Pack. 3 guys, leather jackets. You got 1 guy in a black suit, and everything else was red. Everybody had sunglasses on throughout this match. So they looked like they could have, that was a stable right there. That could have been a fucking killer stable, because they all pretty much were rocking the NWO Wolfpack style. But this is what I talked about before when I was telling people Chance is great. Chance is a great competitor. He's a great player. He's very knowledgeable. He knows more shit than I would when it comes to movies, and he's 20 years younger than me. Like, this kid is just amazing, but he can't know everything. And it showed this ugly head in the first match they had, when it came to Matthew McConaughey in the second round. They had, you've seen the weakness right there in the first match when they only won 19-18. This match here, I told people the second round, if Mike doesn't know shit, Chance is not a cyborg. Like, yeah, there might be some matches where he gets questions that he favors or knows and just knocks out round 2. But they had to go to multiple choice a couple times, and sometimes they didn't get the answers right. And this was a match that it blared this weakness with corruption. They get a question, Mike turns and just looks at Chance like, hey man, do you know the answer? Because I don't know shit. And I right then and there, once the second round was going on, I knew that, and Mike Kalinowski, he's great in IG, that's what he's going to play for in the spectacular. That's what he should stick to, because when it comes to broader stuff, like these 3 guys or these 4 guys, I've said it before and I'll say it again, he was the weakest link in this match. You had a 2-time champion before, you have a rookie that at the end I want to make that point with him and Lon Harrison's brother. But yeah, this was round 2 was the factor in this match, and you could tell that Mike just wasn't helping. And if you're in a team match, your partner needs to help you, or you guys are gonna go down.
Yeah. Yeah. So as far as my thoughts on that, yeah, I mean, I'm really now after that match, I'm really liking Riley and Bateman together, and I think they're going to beat the Harris Bros. And maybe this is I'll save that for when we talk about the end of the match. But yeah, they did very well in scores and soundtracks. As you would expect, Mark Riley too. As far as how the corruption did, yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head there. I thought that Chance would kind of be able to help him out a little more, but yeah, when Chance just doesn't know it, Kalinowski just didn't quite have enough knowledge to kind of support him. And that's why I thought they were going to lose to the Founding Fathers. That didn't happen, so that kind of made me second guess myself in the situation where I thought that they were going to win this one. But I guess that's just not how it worked out. So now moving over now to round 3. First question goes over to corruption. Tommy Lee Jones starting what 1997 disaster movie? Mike goes up. He answers that right. It was Volcano, or was it Dante's Peak? It was Volcano. Yeah. Then, so I get those two mixed up because they come out the same year.
Yeah, I give you that.
Yeah. Then Chance goes up. Who played pediatrician Steve Edison opposite Jennifer Lopez in The Wedding Planner. I was surprised he did not get Matthew McConaughey on that one because, he should have maybe studied up a little more on McConaughey after that struggle in the round 2 of in their first match against Inky and the Brain. But, I was just surprised that he did not know that. Then it goes over to corruption for their 5-pointer. And the question is, in the film Moonlight, Sheeran uses 2 different nicknames throughout his life, one when he was a young boy and one when he is an adult. What is one of the nicknames? They get the question right.
Chance got it right.
Yeah. Chance got it right. But, they were both. But, yeah, Chance got it right. Then moving over to Who's the Boss? What Spielberg movie had the following tagline, the true story of a real fake? It was to Bateman, and you can tell he did. Yeah, it was to Bateman. Yeah. You can just tell he can't hold it in, and he gets Catch Me If You Can, and he gets it right, and then Who's the Boss wins the match. So then before we go over to our thoughts, after that we had a post-credit scene with Mike Kalinowski and Thad Williams. Mike, coming in and demanding that corruption get a triple threat match at the Spectacular with Shire Wolves and the winner of Who's the Boss and the Harris Bros. And then Thad just being like, no, finally standing up after, kind of being forced to stand up, but still standing up to Mike, which means I'm guessing, and then Mike kind of goes, okay, and walks out. I'm guessing that means we're going to find out what Mike has on Thad, and I kind of want to know what you guys think Mike has on Thad. But yeah, James, what are your thoughts on the match in general, the third round, and that stuff at the end, and what you think Mike has on Thad?
Yeah, like I said, overall came down to round 3 as we knew it would, and Who's the Boss just had a little bit more in the tank than corruption did. So it was a great win for those two. Excited to see what they can do against the Harris brothers in the finals. Even though we have to see more of that ridiculous beard masked hobo flasher who calls himself a manager, Tom Dagnino, aka Finstock. But yeah, I mean, like I said, good stuff overall. The part I like the most with the whole Kalinowski thing is Thad, quote unquote, standing up for himself, but he looks like the most sheepish little guy. Looks literally like he's ready to piss his pants as he's trying to stand up to Kalinowski. I half expect the only thing that would have been funnier to me is if after telling him no, Kalinowski just said, all right, and then just bitch slapped him before he walked out. That would have been funny. But yeah, overall, good match. Excited for where this leads, and can't wait to get into the singles tournament. That's going to be a lot of fun too, especially with Chance going up against Ethan Irwin. That's going to be a bloodbath, and I cannot wait to see it.
Yeah, definitely. Jay, going over to you.
Chad standing up for himself has been a highlight of this season for me. Um, just because he has been so sheepish and just he's been the push around kid. You can't keep pushing that person around because then that person will. I'm not going to make that joke live on air. I'll make that joke when we get off air. You can't just keep pushing them around, and the fact that they were about to lose, quote unquote, competitors before the spectacular, have everybody walk out, probably really just like made up his mind for him. Oh, I've got to do this, or we won't even have a spectacular, and you can't really be a commissioner of leagues that doesn't exist anymore because you listen to the one person that nobody likes.
Very true.
It was sad to see corruption lose, but I've kind of agreed with Haven this entire time, and I echoed his sentiments about Mike kind of being the weaker of the two teammates, and even with the improvement that he's had, he was still, I think, the least knowledgeable person on the table. And that's nothing against him. He is a really great IG competitor, but not the greatest of competitors when it comes to movies. Plus, you had a pissed off Riley, and I think Bateman just has this excellent capacity of getting into people's heads. And even if nobody wants to admit it, I'm pretty sure that happens at least to a certain degree. And it's so it's a part of the game. One of those things that you're going to have to learn how to deal with or even counter when you step up and you start playing with people who no answers, but if you can mess with their minds a little bit, they might miss. This was a hell of a match, and going forward, I'm not 100% sure. I think all of my predictions have been wrong. I don't have a bracket. This is the reason why I don't have a bracket. But I'll say it just because I've been doubting them the entire tournament. I'll give this one to the Harris brothers over Who's the Boss. And yeah.
Yeah, going over to Haven.
Oh yeah, round 3 started. Who's the Boss? 26 points. Corruption at 19. Mike hit his 2-pointer, which was smart strategy. He was the weaker player, so of course he'll take the 2-pointer, let Chance take the 3-pointer, and then talk to each other for the 5-pointer. Smart strategy. It was sound. He got that one right. It was a good question for a 2-pointer. Chance, that 3-pointer, like Little Bo said earlier, the host, he said, you see the DVD, you see the movie poster, and when it comes to Wedding Planner, it's Jennifer Lopez, and you have McConaughey. The fucking faces are right there on the DVD. That movie's way older than 10 years old. It's surprising because Matthew McConaughey bit him in the ass again, and I don't know what his psyche's like. I've seen this guy playing so many matches weekly, just in so many different leagues, just battling, fucking like a gladiator, man, Braveheart style. That maybe this is a little different because, you get bit in the ass twice by McConaughey. Does that mess with his psyche going forward in the singles? Does that haunt him? Because that 3-point question was to me, I thought it was easy. I wouldn't be mad if that was a first round question. So, and then when it came to the 5-pointer, Chance made up for it. The Cobra, he got that one right, super easy. He as soon as the question was asked, they only wanted one. He knew both. He said, "No, I know both." He looked at Mike, and Mike was just sitting there, just like didn't look at him at first, trying to figure it out. And he tapped him like, "Yo, I know this one." He's like, "Oh, go ahead." Mike said, "Go ahead, take it." And he said, "Little Black." Boom, 5 points. But if you could go back and watch that third round, you see Mark and Ben talking to each other, just shooting the shit, just like, hey, teammate, hey, they're bumping fists, they're laughing. Mark has a smile on the face. This team is going to last. This team's going to last. They got great chemistry now, and I think that's going to be a good thing for maybe at the end of this season or maybe next season. Maybe Mark leaves the Horsemen and joins the Army. I think this is great. If you watch that third round again and just watch those two when they cut to them, those guys are just in the zone, just talking like, oh, hey, just they're both smiling, and I was like, yo, that's a good shot, And once it came up to once it went back to who's the boss, Ben Bateman just took the win for his team. That 2-pointer, he knew it, and that was it. And we always have the backstage interviews, which sometimes we gloss over, but this is another thing about corruption, which he got, he even said in his interview after he pouted and whined and didn't want to talk, he wants to soak in the corner like a little child. But then, he said the revelation, like, oh, Ken is going to go for the Star Wars title. I'm going to go for the IG, and Chance will play, for the singles title in the tournament. So we'll see where that goes. But, I've been talking way too much. I'm glad Thaddeus stood up to Mike because I want this season to end. Well, maybe with some special effects. Brienne Chandler's on the roof. She throws down the Wonder Woman whip when Mike walking out of the building, goes around his neck. She picks him up, maybe Sin City style. And she says, like you have failed this city. And then, that's what I'm going to say. But I talked way too much. But thank you guys for listening to my babble. Sorry.
So, but I do want to ask about this hypothetical scenario. So would Brienne in this scenario have killed Mike Kalinowski at that point?
No. Lift him up. She just lifts him up. Like and then throw him down. She wouldn't kill him. Maybe injure him a little bit. But no, she wouldn't.
Lift him up by the neck.
Lift him up by the neck.
It's a magic whip. Magic has special things it could do. So she won't kill him.
Okay then. But yeah. So I do think you hit the nail on the head with. Well, part of me does and part of me doesn't. So when you say Mark Riley might join Action Army, because you do see how much Ben and Riley work off each other, and I do really like that idea. But at the same time, I don't see Ben ever leaving Andrew as a teammate. So even if they join Action Army, I don't think we'd ever see Ben and Riley together, because I don't ever see a universe where Guy and Ben aren't Team Action anymore, where they're not together anymore. So
they're still Team Action. I just think that if they win the tournament and they win the titles, what is he supposed to do? For the Horseman storyline is pretty much dead. I mean, yeah, Roka has the belt, but these guys are making it happen right now. And I don't know, they're doing their thing.
I'm just saying, to me, if they win the belt, then yeah, they kind of have to stay together. But to me, it just kind of seems like it would be weird to see Ben, out of context of Anarchy. It would be weird to see Ben and Andrew not be on a team together. To me, that's just kind of without. Obviously, we're seeing that with Anarchy, but once things go back to normal. I'll be surprised, but that might happen. Who knows? But I would like it to happen because I do think Riley and Bateman do make a really good team. As far as oh, sorry, James, go ahead.
I think more or less what Haven's going for is maybe not so much that Ben and Guy wouldn't be a team anymore. It's just Riley would be the third member of the Action Army. He would be a lot more like the singles guy while they compete in teams or something or along those lines. You know what I mean?
That's a fair idea.
The Action Faction.
Yeah, there you go.
Action Faction. But yeah, as far as what does Mike Kalinowski have on that? It's either going to be a joke type thing where it's some picture of Thad doing something funny, like some sexual pictures or something like that, which I don't think anyone wants to see, but we all kind of want to see it. Or
we're learning a lot about Caleb Boatman today.
No. Oh man, I just pulled a Chris Day over here.
Yep.
The Bert my Ernie, everybody. Oh man, but sorry. What I meant was like we all kind of think it'd be funny to see that happen. Or did I mean that? But anyway, I think that could be it, or it could be like something where Mike Kaneski found like a loophole in the contract where that Thad isn't supposed to be the commissioner, and if this gets out, then Christian will become the commissioner again, or something like that. I don't know. But yeah, as far as both these this match between Who's the Boss and Corruption was great, and as far as who I think is going to win between Harris Bros and Who's the Boss, it's really going to be close. But because I doubted them this whole tournament, and I don't like that I doubted them. I'm giving it to Who's the Boss. Because every time I went against Who's the Boss, I lost and I was wrong. So I'm going with Who's the Boss. Now watch. Who's the Boss are going to lose, and I'm going to be wrong. Because that's the way my predictions go. So yeah, before we're done, we are going to go over to hear some Facebook predictions. Not Facebook predictions. Well, I guess I'm going over to the Facebook page to look up the next match. But we're going over to some predictions on this week's matches. First up, we've got this Tuesday, a doubleheader. We've got Josh McCouga versus Lon Harris and Janine the Machine versus Ben Bateman. And then the two winner of those will play each other on Friday. So, Jay, what are your thoughts on that?
I can't speak to the Machine Bateman match because I've already seen it. But the McCouga Lon Harris match, I think that's gonna be mad funny. Like, regardless of who wins, obviously, as much as I'm pulling for McCouga for Jeopardy 2022, by the way, I still think it's gonna be the Professor, and now the Professor's gonna be shocking McCouga, asking him if he's done his homework, much like he did to Cody Hall. But yeah, so whoever the Professor ends up playing, that'll be what, next Tuesday?
Yeah, the
second
Tuesday, yeah.
Yeah, Tuesday they play, and then the winner of those two matches play together on Friday.
Okay, so that match on Friday will be entertaining. That is what I can say about that one. Regardless, you'll get your money's worth.
Yeah. James.
Yeah, much as we all love the ridiculousness that Josh McCouga brings to the Schmoedown, I think it's fair to say Lon Harris is going to wipe the floor with him. That being said, I will be interested to see what goes down between Janine the Machine and Ben Bateman. That'll definitely be a very telling match for both of those individuals. And then, obviously, whoever wins that match on Friday obviously makes their way into the singles tournament. So, I'm looking forward to seeing where this goes. As far as who's going to win between Janine and Bateman, Smart Money says Bateman because he's had more long-term experience in these kind of matches than Janine has, but you never want to count the Machine out. That being said, I'm still going to go for Ben Bateman.
Haven.
Yeah, this is I like how they do this stuff. We had so many team matches, and then boom, now we're in the singles tournament. DeLon Harris won against McCouga. It's going to either go two ways. It's either going to be a KO, for Lon, or it could be probably pretty close if the questions go Makuga's way. I think it's going to be an interesting match if it goes the ladder. And the second match, I heard rumblings from it. Watched it, so I can't really say too much about it since it was a Patreon match. But yeah, this tournament is exciting. You know, Ben Bateman is a great competitor. Janine, she is a great competitor. She's so knowledgeable. She just, you know, she always gets close, but then she just loses, you know, the last couple ones. But I think she's gonna go on a redemption tour, you know, hopefully, you know. So, and Ben Bateman's so red hot right now, you know, just running through the tournament with his partner Mark, getting a lot of questions under his belt, you know. So that, you know, the more matches you play, the better you could be, because you start, you know, absorbing knowledge, and that match is going to be a highlight. And whoever wins out of these two is going to be a fun match for Friday. So I'm excited. Can't wait.
Yeah, as far as my predictions for this upcoming match, I think it's going to be, I'm kind of just predicting the whole tournament. Here, not the whole tournament, but like this little mini, you know, qualifier. I'm thinking Janine beats Ben, because I think both those two players are pretty good. But I'm giving the slight edge to Janine here. I think Lon Harris is going to destroy Makuga. I love Makuga, but Lon Harris is a beast. Is a beast in trivia. Lon Harris is the best. Not the best, but like he's very, very, very good. And I think, honestly, I think Lon Harris has a potential to win this whole tournament. I do. Lon Harris is just so knowledgeable. He was just kind of a victim of losing to Ethan Irwin in that one match, which is one of the best matches of the year, in my opinion. But yeah, so I think Lon Harris beats Makuga, Janine beats Bateman, and then I think Harris beats Janine. So yeah. Unless anybody has anything else they want to say, we're gonna go around the world to see where everybody can find it.
I wanted to bring up something real quick for you guys.
Yeah.
Who's the potential like standout so far out of guys that got called up? When you have Chance
for rookie of the year?
No, not for rookie of the year, but for basically, yeah, they're pretty much rookies. But they haven't played singles. You know, they both came in the tournament. One guy had a bunch of hype behind him. You know, the fans loved him. You know, he played in multiple fan leagues. He got a lot of hype coming in, so everybody knew that he was coming. But then you had Lon Harris's brother came out of nowhere. 1-2 matches in a row. Would have been 3 if he was already in the tournament, because I think that they still would have beat. I think the JT and Lon Harris, that match, if it was Lon and Ron, I think they would have won that match regardless. So Chance has, I believe, 2 wins because they lost this one. And then you have, God damn it, what's Lon Harris' brother's name?
John. Yeah, John and Lon.
John. All right, so fucking John Harris. He's got 2 wins.
John, Lon, and Moron.
You know, so I'm thinking right now, you know, both of those 2 guys came in. You know, one guy had a bunch of hype. One guy just was kind of thrown in under the radar. Nobody really, you know, hyped him up. But right now, one guy's going to, you know, play his 3rd match. And if they win that one and, you know, move forward. But I'm thinking both of these rookies, like right now, who do you think has a little advantage?
As far as the advantage, I don't know. If you're asking me who do you think has made a bigger impact, I think in the fans' minds, Chance, like we said, we knew what he was capable of, especially those of us who competed against him or with him here in Jack of all Trivia or in any of the other fan leagues. So he had a little bit of, you know, we were already familiar with what he could do, so his performance up till now hasn't really been much of a shock. John Harris, on the other hand, he came right the fuck out of nowhere and has been very, very impressive. So if you're asking me who I think has made more of an impact, I would go with John because, again, we knew what Chance was capable of because we've seen what he can do. John, nobody had any clue what he was going to be capable of, and you see what he's been able to do up till now. But as far as who do you think has the advantage going into like the Rookie of the Year discussion.
Well, not Rookie of the Year. No, I just
that's up in the air.
Yeah.
So
okay, so this is how I look. Oops, sorry, Lobo, go ahead.
Yeah, you go ahead.
I never actually got the privilege to play Chance, unlike some other people. I have had the chance to have a couple of conversations with him. He seems like a really nice guy. But the fact of the matter is they're both 2-0. Well, one's 2-1, one's 2-0, and one's still in the tournament, while the other isn't. I think at this point in time, the one who has the better chance at being a little bit more acknowledged would be John, and it's just because he's still in the tournament.
Here's the thing, though. I think that John had a better partner than Chance did. Lon is so good at movie trivia, whereas Mike, not quite as well. So if we're looking at it that way, Mike versus Lon, obviously I think we can all agree Lon is probably the better player, at least when it comes to movies, than Mike is. So I think you kind of need to take that into account. I don't think we can look at just base wins and losses. We need to look at the individual performances of both players, which is why in that way I'm going with Chance.
See, but even looking at the individual play, you still have one who's in the tournament and one who isn't, even with a partner.
Yeah, but you even said, Jay, that Mike was the weak link there. So
You're right, I did, but they still got the 2 wins, but they couldn't get past Bateman and Wright. Whereas, look at what happened. The Harris brothers got past Andreyko and Schneider, and I think had those matches been flipped, it would be Corruption and the Odd Couple. I think that would have been a hell of a match.
To be fair, but if we're asking who's better, the Harris Bros or Corruption, I'd agree with your logic on that, but we're not asking who's better, Harris Bros or Corruption. We're asking who's better, Chance or John.
Yeah. I was just saying, this is interesting how these two guys came in on two different sides of the coins, and I think these two guys are going to be big time next year, or even at the end of this year.
Well, I don't think John is playing in the singles tournament.
I hope so.
No, because Christian announced the entire singles thing, and I don't believe he is, because this is the qualifier. Because there's it's not like a 16-seed tournament; it's just an 8-seed singles tournament, and I think it's Irwin, Andreyko, Merle, Wolf, Chance, a couple other people, but but it's it's only an 8-person tournament, and since John isn't in this qualifier, he's not in this 8-man tournament. So yeah. Anyway, unless anyone has anything else they want to say.
Yeah, we can always check out triviasd.com for the schedule.
Oh yeah. Well, we'll do that next week because right now, we're just gonna. Because we don't really
as far as I know, the site hasn't fully launched yet. They've been having some bugs, so it won't be up officially until Tuesday.
Yeah. So we'll kind of give our tournament singles predictions next week if we have time. I don't know. Yep. I know I'm kind of busy next week. But anyway, we will go over around the world to see where you can find everybody. Going to you first, Jay the Arsonist Burns.
All the important people already know where to find me, but for the rest of y'all can find me at Facebook at Jay Burns. You can find me on Twitter at JBurns253. You can find me on Instagram at bargang_Burns. You can find me on Letterboxd at JBR253. And you can find me not getting my movies published on YouTube due to copyright infringement at Your Friendly Neighborhood Movie Nerd. Your Friendly Neighborhood Movie Nerds, where me and the movie nerd Dominic, Dom Brizzy, talk through movies so you don't have to.
I think there's something else you forgot to plug, Jay, or are we not announcing that yet?
Oh, we're not announcing that yet. No. That's not being announced yet.
Oh, okay. Never mind then. James, going over to you.
Yeah, you can find me at right here at Jack of All Trivia. You can find me running the Inner Geekdom League. We will be having a big 6-man gauntlet match tomorrow night, so that'll be a really interesting match. So be on the lookout for that. You can also find me defending the wrestling championship in the wrestling leagues on Wednesday and competing in the movie leagues. More than likely getting my ass kicked, but oh well, whatever. I'm having fun. You can also find me over on my own personal YouTube channel, James Schmoedown. I do trailer reactions, movie and TV reviews. You can also find me there doing my own show, Sweating It Out, where a bunch of nerds get together and geek out over any given topic for any given amount of time. You can actually find me there. We'll be getting ready to do a full dissection on everybody's thoughts on The Last Jedi, whether you thought it was good, bad, or indifferent, or you're indifferent about it. So hopefully we can get a good crew together for that. And you can also find me and Haven Pendergast, as well as the queen of the NWO, Nicole Morris, every now and then. We are over there on that channel doing our backstage breakdown, everything in the world of pro wrestling, whether it's Monday Night Raw, SmackDown, NXT, New Japan. We'll cover the news for all of it, as well as the results of weekly television. So join us over there.
Yeah. Haven, over to you.
Of course, you can find me on Mr. Grant Gregory. That's on YouTube, where I'm defending the comic book championship. Hopefully we get some matches going soon back in there. And of course, you can find me on Facebook at Jack of All Trivia. That's how we become friends. That's how we talk, messenger, book matches for you guys. And of course, you can find me on YouTube at Jack of All Trivia.
Yeah, definitely. And you can find me on my channel, Caleb Boatman. I haven't really posted anything there in a while, but I used to do some Schmoedown reactions there. You can find me here hosting Schmoedown All Access every Sunday, 3 p.m. Eastern Time, usually. And you can find me playing trivia and Jack of All Trivia. Yeah, it's just a whole lot of fun. Subscribe to the Joke channel. Yeah, with that said, this has been Schmoedown All Access. From Jay, from James, from Haven, I am Lil Boat. Peace.
Loktar